There's a sacred moment in every awakening when your soul whispers, let go. But what if that release isn't just about losing something? It's a divine invitation to rise. In this episode, we explore the energy of release, how to identify what's no longer aligned, and how to trust the pull towards what's calling you forward. If you're feeling stuck, heavy, or like something needs to change, but you don't know where to begin, this is your moment. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we're streaming on the Bold Brave TV's network. This space was created to remind you that you are not alone. No matter what your past looks like or what you're facing today, you hold the power to shift your life. We've all walked through pain, loss, betrayal, loneliness, frustration, and hopelessness, but your story doesn't end there. This show is about turning those dark nights into dawn. It's about rediscovering the truth of who you are beneath the pressure, performance, and expectations. Maybe you've achieved success, but deep down, you still feel isolated, angry, or even like giving up. You long to be seen, not for the titles or accolades, but for your truth. You want to be known and celebrate for the real you, not the version of yourself that's been performing just to survive. You've read the books, gone to the workshops, and implemented the strategies, but something still feels off. That cycle of hope followed by disappointment keeps repeating, and the voice inside says, maybe this is all there is, but it's not. As a certified transformational coach and the creator of the Soul Journey program, I help you to reconnect with your authentic self and align with your soul vision. I give you the tools to remember who you really are: powerful, worthy, and whole. Each week, I start the show with the tuning forks of love, joy, and happiness to set the tone for the deep healing and the soulful conversations. So let's begin. Well, happiness had something to say on that one. I guess it's trying to get me ready for today's show, since this has been an interesting day. So today, right now, I want to talk about recognizing the weight that you've been carrying. Have you been feeling unusually heavy, like you're dragging or something invisible is behind you? That's the energy of what's unspoken but unresolved, and today we're going to bring light to it. In this segment, we're going to explore how emotional and energetic clutters hides in plain sight, disguised as fatigue, frustration, and indecision. We'll talk about how to recognize the energetic weight you've normalized and why feeling off is often a sign that your soul is preparing for a release. And let me tell you, people, today's been a day. Most of you, and I feel this a lot, especially this weekend. We had a lot of rain here in Colorado all weekend. I think we had the sun out for like 5 minutes yesterday. And I felt tired and drained and kind of heavy, but I couldn't quite pinpoint what was going on. Now, I know that we are in severe energetic shifts and changes on the planet right now. I know that we are technically in a war of the worlds between good and light, and I'll accept that. And I also know that we have to step up and become who we truly are. AI is coming into our world, and we have to deal with that. And if we're not speaking our truth, nothing's going to change. And I also want to remind you that I do have a light activation guide, and it's going to help support your process. And all you have to do is click on the download in the show notes, and it will be immediately sent to you. And yesterday, well, probably Sunday, I'm going to tell you a couple of things. We all know at one point that my father passed away on April 30th. And it's been a very challenging thing to navigate. And every time I think that I'm getting my poop in a group, I discover I'm not. And today was another big release. Last week, I told you what happened at the grocery store where this beam of light came in, and I went into gut-wrenching pain. And I mean literally gut-wrenching pain, doubled over, and I had to get back ready for the show. Well, today I had another one of those events. No, over the weekend I had gut-wrenching pain, but it wasn't like it went away. So what I have discovered and learned and realized is that my body is letting me know when another release is coming. Now, I didn't know that yet, but I was in it. And I thought, what am I releasing that is so painful? And I figured it has to be my father because it's in the gut. It's the things that I'm navigating through. And because I'm writing this chapter in this anthology book, that came back with final edits and things got changed, and everything triggered in me. I mean, I went down a rabbit hole like you wouldn't believe. Now, this is part of the release. This is part of everything that was going on that I didn't know. And that pain was letting me know something's coming. Now, I didn't know that yet. I found that out probably about an hour ago. Okay? That's how well I'm getting message. But in this triggering of I'm not being validated, I'm not being heard, nobody cares about me, why should I be here? And I believe it or not, I got up at 4:30, 6 o'clock. I'm like, I don't even want to be alive, because whatever's happening on this planet, I'm feeling, and I know I'm here to help transmute that, bring the light to the world, to help save the planet, to help through the ascension process, and yada, yada, yada. Okay? But that doesn't make going through this healing process and this grieving process any easier. And I always say over and over again, you don't heal until you release the emotional part of it. So in this process of rereading the chapter, and I went down this, I also relived the moment that my entire life changed before me. And because the story was switched around just a little bit, it triggered everything. And so, of course, it's where it's supposed to be. I got resolved and I handled it, but I had to get the rage, and I mean rage, out, because I felt so traumatized at that point, because this is a very private, personal story. The book will be out on September 9th of this chapter of what changed in my life from my father. And when I read that, it was like I actually felt at that moment, I went back to 11 years old, and I went back into that place in the bathtub when my father walked in the bathroom when all of us girls were in the bathtub, because this is in the 60s. And I remember at that moment, I saw the bruises from my shoulders all the way down to my knees. And I literally felt this morning that whatever happened, I relived. As far as the shutting down, the rage, and then looking at that man who is now a monster and thought, how could you do this to your little girl? And everything changed. And I literally, again, left my body and did not come back for 50 years, 40 years. So it was another indication, because I don't remember much of my life. And I spent most of my life trying to go back to that place and remember what happened in my life. Thank God, and I say this today, and thank God I did not push this element until now, because I would never have been able to handle what I'm handling now, with what happened, with the changes, with the abuse that I felt, with my mother doing nothing to protect her children. I mean, it was one thing after another, after another, after another. And that is a very painful place to be. So when I say navigating a perpetrator who is your father, you think this is easy? Because this is an identity. Because when we suffer at the hands of people who are supposed to protect us and they die, what do? Most people die shortly after them because their identity is attached to that. So I received a message that I am now free to move around the cabin. And what that actually means is I am no longer looking over my shoulder and I'm finally safe and feel free. The other thing, because I'm in this, another graphic that showed up this morning, and I think this is very profound of what Spirit is doing and talking about, and this is why this is so important to release whatever emotional stuff, and it sucks, and it hurts, it's painful, you feel weak, you feel like a failure, you feel like you should be able to handle it, and no, you're not. You're really not. You're supposed to be in it. That's the human experience. But the graphic that came up to me, because I know why I'm here, was I am in a dark cave, shackled to the wall, facing every demon that I have so the phoenix can rise. That was powerful. Still sucks to be me right now. And I'm okay with it at the moment. Because I know that the light workers, the way showers that are out here, are slowly coming together to join forces so we can lift the darkness that's on this planet right now. The world's going to shift next year. But what's coming up for you that needs to be released? Because there are things coming up. Nobody is being untouched right now. Everybody I talk to is feeling like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I could do this. At 6:00 this morning, I said, I don't want to be here anymore. I just want to be gone. I mean, and I really felt that. And I didn't even know why I felt that yet, but I felt it. I acknowledged where I was emotionally. And then I read my chapter and everything blew open. The pain from 2 days ago is a new release that I have about my father, because even though we are untethered, it doesn't matter. Whatever that energy did inside my physical body is still there. So what is holding you? What is the tether? My contract with my father and my mother is released. I actually, last week after I got off the show, believe it or not, I actually saw, because this is what Spirit's doing, they're putting a movie camera in front of me anymore. So I watched the vision. And I actually saw when I agreed to come down to this earth to do what I'm doing. I also remembered this morning that I did not want to come. And I have spent years upon years, dreams, lifetimes, everything coming up about, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be around my father. I wanted nothing to do with this. And yet I came, because in that moment when I signed that contract to come onto this earth, was that I knew that my light was so desperately needed for what is about to come upon us. And that because I know how to transmute pain, I have lived with pain my entire life beyond measures. And I know that I haven't even touched 1/10 of what so many other people have gone through. But I went through enough pain, and I know how to heal it. I know how to move through it, and I know how to get on the other side. And so that's why I know that I am desperately needed on this planet right now to help us. And I want people to understand that what you're feeling is normal. Because what we don't release, we repeat. I don't want to live with this. I do not want to die or deny the grief that I'm in with my father, regardless of how ugly and painful and hurtful it is. I want to get rid of it once and for all. And that's what I'm inviting all of you to do, because even though these are emotional symptoms, they're also spiritual signals that it's time to go. So if it's in your face it, because it's time to release, and you have the support of me, other people, and Spirit there. So we have to take a quick commercial break. But again, if you're getting any value, please send the link to friends and family and invite them to watch the show. And again, the free light activation guide is in the show notes, and we'll be right back. Why letting go feels so hard even when you're ready. You know something needs to go. You've outgrown it. You feel it. So why can't you just let it go? The answer might surprise you. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, and we are streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. In this segment, we're going to dive into soul contracts, subconscious beliefs, and emotional entanglements that make release feel terrifying, even when it's necessary. Letting go is not about loss, it's about making space. We'll discuss how fear of the unknown, identify ties, and loyalty to past pain can block your path to freedom. Now, I started to touch on this in the last segment about the identity that I have with my father, that when a perpetrator dies, people usually follow after that because they are so tied and they don't know how to maneuver through this. So this grieving process with my father and being the perpetrator and somebody who loved me, the things that keep coming up is I didn't have a father. I have missed a father. I have no idea what a father is, but it is not what I expected. And believe it or not, I have walked around my entire life with that one tiny dot of hope that this could work. And it never did. It never was going to. And he died and the light went out. That's a painful thought too, because you don't realize how much we hold on to something. And I know that I missed having a father in my life. I know when I was a baby, we were very close. I know that. That's about the only extent of what I know, because after that, it got disgustingly gross. I also know that there were so many soul contracts that I came into this world with. My family is an entire soul contract, and I will have nothing to do with them after I leave. So some of the other things that came up that I want to share with you, which is a little probably far and bizarre and out of reach for some of you, and that's okay. Just listen, and if not, that's okay too, was I know that I have been carrying soul contracts with my parents and my family for a very long time. And I know I got them really good in another lifetime. And I know that my parents were here to bring me back to the dark side that I refuse to go to, because I'm not a dark person. I was created to be that. I was erased to be a dark person to save creation. And if you want to know the real story, get the books, Dancing Souls, the trilogy. It's all in there of what was downloaded to me about who I am. So in the soul contracts, what I realized that contract was finally released. And in that process, I also know, and this is something that's really interesting, and I heard this years ago, but I couldn't make sense of it yet, is there are two doorways when we pass. One is the cycle of karma that we come back over and over again. I don't have to go through that doorway. I'm going to the other doorway. I'm going through the ascension. We don't have to die to ascend. We can take our physical bodies through the ascension process. And what this ascension process means is you've got to get rid of the stuff that you're holding on inside your body. Just going through this grieving process with my father and the gut-wrenching pain that I feel every now and then when I'm either ready to release or I face something and it's releasing, because I went into weeping for hours, okay? Weeping. Because I'm not crying. And I'm not weeping for my father. And I'm not weeping for the loss of anything. I'm weeping because of the pain release that's happening inside my body. If we're going to ascend into a higher vibrational frequency and we want to go awake with our body, we have to release the density in our body, which comes down to soul contracts. So what are your subconscious beliefs? Or even your unconscious beliefs? The only way you're going to learn what that is do something different, because as long as you stay in a robotic, habitual pattern, nothing changes, and you are now part of the problem and not the solution, because you're not walking in and stepping into the true essence of who you are as a spiritual being. The emotional entanglements that I've had with my family has been unbelievable. With my mother, when I was 30, in my 30s, I moved to Laughlin, Nevada with my ex-husband at that time. And my mother was always, this is when she started her game of I'm dying. Okay. And I remember being so angry at one point, like, don't you friggin' die on me, lady. Because I knew that whatever I had to do, I needed to get this resolved, because I was not going to live with a life of regret, and I wasn't going to live with guilt and shame the rest of my life. So I spent a lifetime working through my mother issues with her. And she was not an easy person, trust me, because she didn't love me. So that wasn't easy. And I helped her to transition through her death. I said I would do that. I did that. The other thing that happened is, in my father's situation, I spent a lifetime working on forgiving him. So it's a totally different thing. So there's these intense emotional entanglements and anger and rage. It's more rage than anger that I had, and not trusting anyone. The world was horrible. Nobody loved me. Nobody cared about if I lived or died. That was my MO in life. And I walked around with the biggest chip on my shoulder because of it. And I didn't want to carry it. But what I'm noticing, that I want to untether from this earthly plane and not die, untether from these emotional entanglements. And the way to do that is really work on forgiveness. Really understand that I created this. This isn't just a one-sided story. This was a contract that I agreed to, and I needed to learn how to do it so I can teach others how to do it. The Soul Journey program I have is not for newbies by any stretch of the imagination. This is for the people that are stuck, that don't realize that resentments hold you back, that forgiveness holds you back, that not moving forward holds you back. These are things you have to look at and face. I also have meditations that the Archangel Ariel gave me that help you to untether those emotional issues as well. I mean, I use the Heal Emotionally Now with my mother, because after 5 years after her death, I was still as angry as I was the day she died, and I knew it was holding me back. And I went into that meditation, and what I learned and discovered, I don't know what it was, but I know what it was. I was completely free of that woman after that because of the emotional entanglements. I also know that with my father and my siblings, I will be doing some sort of ceremonial thing to break that officially from my body. It's not time with either one of those people, any of those people yet, but it's coming, and I know that. So that's another thing we want to do, is to make sure that we're breaking away from those things and letting it go. I'm not losing anything. I'm making more space so I can bring love into my life, that I can bring joy into my life. I can bring peace into my life, and I can have the life that I want regardless of what's going on outside in the world. And that's where I want to go. That's why this ascension is, when people say, oh, well, you can use quantum physics to get to where you want, and it's in the fourth dimension. They are so friggin' wrong on that, because it is not in the fourth dimension. It's in the fifth dimension and higher where you work. So the fourth dimension is nothing more than a bridge. So if you want to get into higher vibrational frequencies, the density in your body has to change. You have to release and let go of the stuff that's holding you back, because in those higher frequencies, it's about feeling. You don't navigate with your brain. You don't navigate with thinking. You navigate through your emotions. And if you're messed up emotionally, you will never handle that energy. And I can assure you of that, because when I get a good dose of that energy, sometimes it's a little much for me to take, and I can take energy. And if it's too much for me, what's it going to do for people who can't do it, who can't face that part of themselves? So that's part of what you want to do, is really look at, and you can go into a meditation and ask your spirit guides, what are the soul contracts? You can go into the Heal Emotionally Now. It's $14, people. That's all it is. And it's one of the most powerful meditations you will ever receive, because the Archangel Ariel's there. She's helping me. I'm doing part of it. She's doing part of it. But the visualization and what you bring in is mind-blowing. The energy frequency is so amazing. And even if somebody passed, it doesn't matter because you're dealing with their higher selves, not the physical person. You're dealing with that and you're talking to them at a different level, that you're responding at a different level, and you come and have a meeting of the minds, because sometimes in our physical world, we can't do it. I couldn't talk to my father. I am not ready. I'm going to tell you now, I am not ready to go into that meditation with my father yet. I have to be ready for that because I know this will be life-changing. My goal in my life, and I argue with spirit with this all the time, is I don't want people to be suffering. I don't want them in pain because I didn't want to be that person. What I offer you, I give a lot of things away for free. I give huge discounts on things because you are so worthy and deserving to not be suffering anymore. I have told Spirit that I will always deliver a message when it is received to give to someone. 99.9% of the people that are so-called psychics, if you don't give them money, they don't give you the message. I am not that person. So I told Spirit is, if you want me to do this, and I will, I still have to pay a mortgage, and you need to find a way to bring money in. So what's the next thing they're doing? They're teaching me more and more how to trust, how to really release and know that I am provided for and taken care of, like how the animals always know there's food, regardless of what the weather's doing. There's always food for them. And I'm learning to trust to that depth. Do you think that's easy? Because if you haven't tried this, you don't know, because this is not easy. The other thing that I was told on this doorway into the ascension is that my mother came to me before I moved up here, and she let me know she was ready and I wouldn't let her in. And a friend of mine I was talking to basically said, but you knew she's not ready because she's too weak. There's not enough there for her that you feel that she could handle that, because it's like we're addicted to the human experience. So even though she may have come back into the light, that doesn't mean she's solid in the light. She could still be very addicted to the pleasures of the body, because that's what we fight as humans, is the pleasures of the body. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Release isn't the end. It's the sacred threshold between who you were and who you're becoming. And what's waiting for you on the other side is calling. So we're going to be releasing with purpose and what's on the other side. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of the Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we're streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. In this final segment, we're going to walk through a guided reflection on soul-aligned release and what becomes possible when you surrender consciously. You'll learn how to anchor into your inner light, trust Spirit's guidance, and honor what's next, even if it feels unfamiliar. So you've recognized the weight and you're seeing what's keeping you bound. Now we're going to move into liberation. So we're going to anchor in the journey of transformation, because a lot of times we are so afraid we don't know what's on the other side, and that prevents us from moving forward. So we're going to shift from fear to faith, where Spirit never takes something without replacing it with more aligned light. And we're going to set the intention for what for creating the room, for letting go of failure. It's not failure. You haven't failed on anything in your life. What we're going into is spiritual intelligence and what that feels like and what it's like to start embracing something more than what you know. So I'd like you to close your eyes and center your breath. So take in 3 deep breaths, in through your nose, through the count of 4. Hold for 4. And release through your mouth through 7. Now visualize handing over an emotional weight to spirit. It doesn't matter what it is. See the space as it leaves behind you filled with light. And I would say keep doing this for a few more minutes, because I know that you have more than one thing that's bothering you. And I also know that if there's one really big thing that's bothering you, you're going to need the time to move through it. I want you to anchor in a new affirmation. I am safe. I am supported. I am ready. And then fill out anything else that you need an affirmation for. So this becomes your journey of what you need for you. And give yourself that moment with spirit for their guidance. If you're confused or don't see something, if you're feeling fear and apprehension, just breathe deeper. So what's calling you forward? If I were really free, what would I say yes to today? Listen closely to that inner whisper. This is not an end. This is a beginning. And when you're ready, take in a deep breath and open your eyes. I know this was minor, it wasn't anything major, but it's a beginning. And this is part of what that Heal Emotionally Now is. It just takes you deeper, but it's with the Archangel Ariel and Michael moving you to a different vibrational frequency. So you're completely safe. And that's the main thing, is until you feel safe, this is a very hard place to go. When I was facing the ick today and somebody said that I was very strong, and I said, well, I don't feel strong right now, because you don't. But really, when you are in the intensity of your emotions, you are strong. You are in the moment. You're showing vulnerability. The hardest thing for anybody to do, especially a control freak who has not trusted a soul in her entire life, is showing vulnerability, because in my vulnerable moments, I've had people kick me when I was down. Thank God that is not happening to this day at this time, because I am in a different place and I have different kinds of people around me, because the people that are around me, I'm here to guide them, and we're working together in accelerating and moving up the ladder through the ascension process. The same thing can happen. The more you change, grow, and evolve and change your thinking, the more your world changes. The more you realize that you are the one that's in control of your life and no one else. Everything that I have talked about on the show, every little tip video I have ever given, every blog post I have written has been from my life. I even brought up when I had to go to court because of somebody sending me nasty pictures in 2017, and I went through a water loss, and I had to go through this where I pressed charges against the kid, and I had to go into court, and I said I wasn't going to do it because I had been victimized, and I wasn't going to do it, and I didn't want to face it because we already know what courts do with women when things like this happen, that is somehow it's their fault when it's not. Well, I had one of the most amazing judges in my life, and he waited till the courtroom was cleared before my case came up. And the first thing I did is I just went into the big ugly cry. I couldn't even speak. I was so traumatized. And I just knew that the reason why I was doing what I was doing was to help this kid, because if he's doing it to me at my age, he's going to get younger and younger and younger. And what's he going to do down the road? And for women, young girls, to think that receiving those kind of pictures is okay is really wrong. It's not right. It's sick. And they deserve better. The other thing the judge said is he always believed that people who had carried what I had carried were not strong, damaged, broken people. Now, this kid thought I was, and that's why he preyed on me, except for I wasn't that person. And he said that we have lived with this our whole lives, and we have to work through it. And we did work through it. I worked through it. When I sat down, the DA told me, she said, "You don't know this yet, but you are no longer a victim. You are now a survivor." That took me 6 months to understand what that word meant, because I did not know it. When I got home at 4:00 in the morning the next day, I realized what I had done. It was a euphoric change. It was an evolutionary change. It was a release on so many levels of what women have suffered through in their lives, that what I transmuted brought so much more light to the planet. It wasn't easy. I didn't like it. I thank God to this day that the people that were encouraging me to go into court to tell my story, I did that. My whole life changed because of that. It wasn't overnight, but it changed. I changed because I now know that I am a survivor. I know that I am in my power. I now know this, but it took more time, and we have to show grace to ourselves. It's not easy. I don't like crying, partly because I was always told I was a crybaby because I felt everything. So I cried because I didn't know how to release it. I still don't like it. I don't like the fact that I'm grieving, but I don't have a choice. It's what it is. My heart's opening more. I understand that. I'm getting clearer visions. Everything changes. You start doing the work. I promise you what's on the other side will far exceed your expectations. You can't do this work without starting to feel joy and love and happiness and prosperity and abundance, knowing that you are taken care of and that you are loved no matter what. But we have to do the hard work, because if you don't, that doorway to reincarnation, of going through it again until you can release it, it's there. My mother told my father and all of us that she would never be there on the other side. Guess what? She was. When he opened his eyes, she was standing there, because she knew how to bring him back to the light, because she came back. That doesn't mean she's stable yet, but at least there's a sign. When those two come back together, and they will, the question is, have they grown enough to be able to move on to the next level, or are they going to go back into perpetuating the cycle of what they've always done with each other? I just don't have to be there anymore, thank you, God. That's the point. Do you want to continue? Do you want to stay in this rat race? Do you want to stay on the cycle of reincarnation? Or do you want to move forward? Do you want to get off the wheel? I know I do. And I will do whatever it takes to get off this wheel of this karmic craziness. I don't have the pleasures of the body. I don't care about the pleasures of the body anymore. Been there, done that. I want peace. I want love. I want joy. Those are my birthrights. I am not about the bottom line. Yes, I need to pay my mortgage, but that is not what drives me. Money does not drive me. People drive me. Even though you guys make me crazy 90% of the time, I still do this work because I love you. I want you to come home and remember the magnificence of who you are. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Being heard matters. You're here for a reason. And I want you to remember that so we can change the world, that we can come together as a society and make the changes that we want to see in the world, but they have to start with us individually first. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we're streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. I know I brought a lot forward. I know I brought some really deep, heavy stuff, and this is part of what I'm here to do. I know that Spirit guides me. I know they watch over me. I know that the tuning forks set alignment out there. It's sending joy, love, and happiness out into the universe because it's sound. We are vibrational frequency people. The more we understand that, the more we move through the darkness and the heaviness within us. And you're not ugly. And I promise you that if you start meditating, you will see that, because I remember when I first started meditating, the last thing I wanted to do was that and be by myself because, oh my God, what am I going to find? Because I already knew I was an ugly person and horrible and all of this. And I found out that was the biggest lie that was ever perpetuated on me. I found the complete opposite. And it was the journey that started me in the movement that I'm in today. And I encourage all of you to do that. Whatever that self-care is, if it's yoga or riding bike or hiking, walking, whatever that meditative state is that you have for yourself, I highly encourage you to do it, because it's in that where you start seeing the change in you. That's when things start coming up from the unconscious part of your mind to the conscious part of your mind. You may not be able to face a lot of the deep traumas and hurts, but you've got to go through the layering of the onion first. Once you can get through that layer of the onion and you think you're at your core, you're going to find a whole new level, a whole new onion, and it's no longer an onion because you know it's something deeper. This soul contract that I have with my parents right now, there is still something that I am tethered to, and I don't know what that is. I will find it. But I also know that once that tether is gone, I am free, finally. There is something bigger out there for me. I don't know what it is. I'm not afraid to look at it. I don't like feeling it, I will give you that, but I will feel it because I know that there is something bigger and grander on the other side of where I'm going. I look forward to that. So that means I have to go through this dark night to get there. That means you go into the depth of you and you find your light. When you find your light, I promise you there will be a switch that goes off, and everything you've ever known, you will know was a lie, and the truth is what you discover when you find your light. Again, another game-changing experience, all in the books, Dancing Souls. The interesting thing with my father and this death, I started writing, and the information that is coming in is unbelievable. It is not worldly. This is going to be for a very high spiritually evolved being, and what those next steps are. Because what I'm doing is I'm paving the way for everybody, no matter where they are. There were people before me who paved us to get to where we are. I am paving a way for other people. I am showing you a way to another doorway that exists. I knew that was there, but I didn't know it was there. Now I know for sure it's there, and I understand the messages that I have been receiving since 2008 about that doorway. I understand that doorway. I understand my purpose of the doorway, and I understand what I'm supposed to do. I'm also discovering, when they said I was going to write a new language, I am writing a new language. And this book is going to show a lot of what's going on. So I want to thank you all very much for joining me today. I also want to remind you and encourage you to download the the light activation guide that's going to be in the show notes, because this is your next step to help you to become more clear so you can receive more, because the clearer you become, the more you receive. And I mean on all levels. All levels. If you liked what you heard in the show, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. Send it to friends and loved ones. If you find that they will find any benefit in that, I would appreciate that. And I want to also let you know that my list of services and products are on KathleenMFlanagan.com. There's also a de-stress meditation there, which is the sound vibration that brings your frequency up, that can help start making movement and help get you back into a place of tranquility when you're going through some of this dark stuff that you may be going through, because the planet is going through dark stuff. So it's not you, it's everyone is going through it. I don't care where you are on the light spectrum. We're all in it and we're all feeling it. It's how are you navigating through it? My books, Dancing Souls, The Call, The Dark Night of the Soul, and Awakened, are on my Kathleen M. Flanagan site. They're on Amazon, and they are at Barnes & Noble as well. So I encourage you, if you want to understand more of what the waking up process and what the masters went through, these books are for you for that as well. And let's see, what else do I want to say? I want to close with love. And I also want to say you are ready, you are rising, and you are enough. And with that, I will see all of you next week, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And from my heart to yours, I hope you have a fabulous week.